Welcome to the 7-8 podcast,
where falling down isn't failure
and getting back up is the secret to life. What's up, everybody? Michael Johnson here and Lexi Rafael with the 7-8 podcast. And we're so excited you're here today because we have an exciting show planned for you. This is what we've all been waiting for. If you've been listening through the previous episodes, we have been alluding to this episode for a while. This is episode 8. So we had to make it a big deal, right? And it is a big deal. Today, we're going to be talking about Disney's 7-8 story and stories, because there are a lot of them along the way, a lot of falls, a lot of rises, a lot of falling again. And we wanted to share with you this story because Disney is huge. Now, here's the thing. You've probably learned this along the way, but I'm going to go ahead and state the obvious here. The interesting part about Lexi and I is we kind of ended up in this business partnership together because, well, we kind of complement each other's skill set. Lexi is a bit of a fact finder, and when I say a bit, I mean like a lot. And she likes to find the facts behind things. And so she's done a lot of research on this, and she has pulled out a lot of really cool things for us to talk about today and share with you. And I'll go ahead and give a little disclaimer. She will too, because that's how she rolls. But we're going to do our best to get you the facts of these stories, right? And when I say we, I mean Lexi. And no, okay, I do too. But Lexi kind of leads the way on these.
I do.
And the interesting part is that I know some of you also are fact finders too, and you love to find the facts and in the specifics and the details, and we would love to hear them. So it's totally cool, and we would love to hear from you. You can put it in the comments. You can let us know if you find something terribly egregious. You can send us an email. Knock yourself out and let us know, because we want to fix it. And if we get something completely off base, we will fix it. We'll come back. We'll do another episode, and we'll share with you how we fell and how we're going to get back up again, and let you know what the
Clever.
what the facts of the story are. Obviously, the other side of the coin is that these are meant to inspire you. These are meant to help you find solace in that somebody else that made it to great heights went through great tribulations. And so it's important to know that there's a certain amount of taking it for the spirit of the story and of what we found. And of course, we're going to do our best to demonstrate those facts. Now, before I start to give Lexi some of the reins and turn myself into the peanut gallery.
Yeah. Do I get to talk today? Or
You do get to talk today,
okay.
but not until we have a quick word from the sponsor of the podcast. So
yeah.
run that, and then we'll jump back in. This episode is brought to you by the Business Choreography System, the system for building your business after the fall. If you've tried the coaches, the courses, the templates, and you're still not where you want to be, this isn't about starting over. It's about choreographing your rise. We help experts, educators, and creatives finally bring all the moving parts together so they can grow with confidence, not chaos. Watch the free Business Choreography Masterclass and see the full system at createmyimpact.com. You've gotten back up. Now let's build something that lasts. All right. Appreciate that. And let's jump in. Lex, where are we going to start with this Disney thing? Because good old Walt, man, he a lot of people don't know he went through the ringer. I think a lot of people and especially newer generations just think it's like this great empire and must have always been like that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited for this episode. I have learned a lot in studying his journey and finding out different things, and I hope
His
that
story.
his story, yeah, and I hope that you will find inspiration in it like I have, and like Michael said, I do my best to make sure that it's all super, super accurate because that's how I like to roll, but there's a lot of information out there on the internet, and sometimes it's hard to tell what is what, and so I have done my best, and, um, if you know and you find something that is not quite accurate, then please, please, please let us know because I would like to fix it and I'd like to know. Because
Absolutely.
that's really cool. That you have maybe some deeper knowledge, or maybe you have some insider secrets. You're connected to somebody that
Take the insider's secrets.
what?
We'll take the insider secrets.
Yeah, we'll take the insider secrets. We will definitely take that. That would be really cool. And if you have somebody that is connected more, it would be fun for us to maybe have them on the show and learn more, and that'd be cool. So please connect us. We would take uh we'll take that. So jumping in to Disney's story, in past episodes we told you, or I told you, that I love Disney and I grew up on Disney and I love the movies. I grew up going to the parks. I still go to the parks. I love, love, love going to Disneyland. My sister has a season pass. Like we are a Disney family. When we go to Disney, because this is just a little fun about the family. Um, my dad has like Disney shoes and has Disney socks, and we do the pins. Like we are all wearing the pins, like we are into it. So anyway, that's
I
just
have hope
really
that I'll be able to walk by the end of the day.
that's true. That's so true. Um, okay. I think I want to start with there's so much, but I think I want to start with this little clip from Disney just to set the tone, and we'll talk about it in a bit. So let me pull this up. Michael, can you
If you're
change
not
this?
watching on YouTube, you can see the clip here. You'll be able to hear it, but
Yeah.
just you know, we should be able to hear it. If not, we'll have the editors go back in and put the sound in the
Oh,
right
yeah,
place,
that's true.
just in
Hopefully it
case.
works.
But it should work.
Was Snow
Okay.
White in production, Walt?
Oh,
I actually
Let's try again.
let's try
planned
again.
the picture about 1935, and I fooled around with it, trying to get a hold of a story and things for a couple of years.
They're talking about Snow White, by the way.
Yeah.
And finally it began to gel. Then I went to work on it, and I finished it the fall of 1938. I didn't know what I had or what would happen or anything. We had the family fortune. We had everything wrapped up in Snow White. In fact, the banker, I think, was losing more sleep than I was. And fortunately, we put it in, premiered it, and everything else. Why, everything was fine. The banker was happy.
And the following spring along came that Academy Award.
Oh, yeah,
In
but
eight parts.
it wasn't but about 2 years later that I was almost broke.
Well, 2 years later was following Pinocchio and coming into the Fantasia period.
Yeah, that's about did it, you know.
But that was a new
Artistic
and
success, financial failure, you know.
We'll stop it right there.
That's awesome.
I love this, and there were some comments on this video, and one said it exactly how I was feeling. She said he's just so like nonchalant about the family fortune being tied into this movie, and it's just whatever, like no big deal. But
I'm sure it wasn't that way during that
oh,
time.
I'm sure during that time that's not really how it felt, but he just talks about it in such a casual manner. We just had the family fortune tied into it, and I think both him and his brother had mortgaged their house for it, or yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what had happened.
Wow.
Anyway,
That's incredible. I just wonder how you would be feeling. You out there listening to this right now, how would you be feeling if you had mortgaged 2 houses and all your money, and 2 years later, you're sitting there going, I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if it's gonna pan out, right? Who knows if that's all going to come together?
Yeah.
What? Holy cow! What did he say? $400,000? Is that what he said?
Oh, I don't think he said a number. I didn't hear a
Oh,
number.
oh, it was a lot. It was a lot. I
Oh,
thought he said 400,000. Did he not? Oh, maybe
I
I'm
did
wrong.
not hear a number, but if there was a number.
But regardless,
Yeah.
the thing is that he bet the farm on this project.
Yeah, and during this too, like, this was called when you look at Snow White and what happened with Snow White, everybody this phase is called Disney's Folly. And because people didn't believe in this idea because up to this point there wasn't any full-length animated films. Nowadays I'm like, no full-length animated films? Like, what do you mean? I it was hard for me to grasp that concept. I didn't know that was a thing, that you didn't have full-length animated films. Like, that's what I grew up on. And, that Snow White was the first one, and everybody just said, "This is like, what are you doing?" They just laughed at the industry laughed at this idea. And if you back it up just a little bit too, this idea for Snow White came from another fall of his, and he had success, but I'll just read this because I think this explains it well. So, let me find it. So, despite Mickey's success, the pressure broke Walt in 1931 after a wave of stress, creative loss, and personal grief. He had a nervous breakdown, and after that, his wife Lillian insisted on a vacation, and that is when he imagined Snow White, and then he started down that project. And so the whole project came from this fall, and then he has all these doubters and haters while he's creating it. He has the whole family fortune inside of this movie, and he just had to continue to believe that it was going to work.
And imagine, like, for him and everybody to know he had all these haters back then. It wasn't like there was social media then. So they must have been like writing in newspapers and talking in the industry, like all of his
Right,
colleagues, people that knew what was going on, people that
right,
had the investors, the bankers. Like, it was a different game in that period of time. Like, now it'd be like millions of people thrashing on him on social media, right? But back then
right.
it was almost even more personal, because for them to be hating on him, they had to have some way to do that. So they had to go out of their way to say, "Hey, we think you're full of crap."
Oh, I have some numbers. So, um, I like all of this. Back in Hollywood, Walt plunged into making Snow White the first animated feature film ever attempted. Nearly everyone thought he'd lost his mind. Industry insiders openly mocked the project as Disney's folly, betting the audience wouldn't sit through a feature cartoon and that the expensive experiment would bankrupt the studio. Even Walt's wife Lillian and brother Roy urged him to drop the idea when costs skyrocketed. Walt had initially budgeted $250,000 for the film,
Wow.
which nowadays that's not
No,
as much, but like,
well, no, but back then it was
yeah,
250,000 was
yeah.
worth a lot more.
Right. But as his ambitions grew, Snow White's production ballooned to almost 1.5 million
What? I had no
in
idea. In
yeah,
1931?
in the mid 1930s. Because this was all it was like 1935 to 1938, I think is what that video or what that clip said.
Wow.
Yeah.
1 point 1.2 million?
1.5 million.
Wow.
Yeah, and then desperate to finance the film, Walt and Roy mortgaged their homes and took out multiple bank loans to keep the animation going. At one point in 1937, with the film unfinished and money all but gone, Walt screened a rough cut for Bank of America executives to beg for one last loan.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and they gave it to him, and it said that thing is going to make a hatful of money.
Wow.
Yeah. What math were you doing? It sounds like you were doing
That 1.5 million is in today's money $35 million.
that's so crazy. It ended up earning 8 million is what it ended up earning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 35 million, 14,000.
That is so crazy. Yeah, it is in parentheses in 1930s dollars. That's what it said, 8 million in 1930s dollars.
Wow. Well, I mean, and it made 8 million then, but it has since continued to make money
Oh, yeah, of
ever
course.
since. I mean, like
Yeah,
even the story's making money now.
yeah.
The royalty of the newest one
Well,
out.
I just watched it again, and, um and I watched it with my best friend's daughter, and she's 3, and she had never seen it, and since then, she's watched it, like, multiple times a day.
Really?
Yeah, like, she just loves this movie, but you think about all those times, now it's streaming and, I mean, that's still making them money, however, it's making them money through the streaming service. I don't know exactly
Wow.
how all that works, but, like, that's it's crazy, like, still to this day how it's affecting people as well, like, here's this little girl who just loves this movie,
Yeah.
which is cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I think, um, like, just that whole Snow White movie and that journey and what was learned from just that one thing is incredible. Um, I can't hear you.
I think that sorry about that. I hit the mute button.
Oh.
It's bound to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Um, I think that the interesting part was this was after all the Mickey stuff. So we should talk about
Yeah,
that.
we can go
And
back to that.
we're
I
talking
jotted
about how devastating this was, like what was happening before. So let's talk about what happened before, because that was a massive fall, enough where he was having, what'd you say? He had a nervous breakdown, like just
right.
freaked out. And this was prior to Snow White. And so where did there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened before that too.
Yeah, so before that, he had his first studio went bankrupt. So, I mean, that's exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, the first studio went bankrupt, and at just 21, Walt founded Laugh-O-Gram Studios to produce animated shorts, but a key distributor went bankrupt before paying him with only $40 to his name. Walt was evicted and left broke.
Oh my God.
So that happened before all of this Snow White stuff.
There was
Uh,
that.
and then the whole situation with Oswald, because Oswald was his first character,
Uh-huh.
um, which
I don't know much about that situation.
yeah, so Oswald was a rabbit, and what happened is the rights were taken. So Walt learned that his distributor had secretly taken Oswald's rights and poached the team. So
Are you kidding?
yeah, that happened. Isn't that crazy? So one of
Wow.
his like it was a successful character, and then there were problems with the rights. Let me see if I can find just a little bit more on that because
That is crazy. I wonder if that rabbit had anything to do with like the onset of like Bugs Bunny and all of that. I don't know if that's true, but
yeah, I don't know.
somebody was like, "Well, a
Um,
rabbit did good before. Let's do Bugs Bunny."
right.
I don't
Let's
know.
see. Walt found success with Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, a popular cartoon character distributed. Let's see. Um, his distributor had secretly signed away most of Walt's animation team and seized control of Oswald's character rights, which he
Wow.
didn't know. Yeah. And so he lost his first character and his staff all overnight.
And his staff.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's like worse than losing the character. Like you lost the character and you lost everybody working for you.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And then that's uh, what I found is like Mickey Mouse was because of that fall, right? That fall of Oswald and him losing that, and then that's at that point, that is when Mickey Mouse was created. Um, yeah, which we've talked about this a lot, like a mouse.
Yeah.
Everybody hates mice.
Yeah.
Why how in the world was this billion-dollar empire created off of a mouse?
Yeah.
I
Well, you think about it, and this man got everybody to fall in love with a mouse.
yeah, it's, like, so impressive.
Like women will wear this mouse on their shirt. They will have paraphernalia all over the house of Mickey Mouse. And
Yeah, little fact about me, I have tons of stuff in my kitchen that is all Disney.
oh,
That's me.
geez. Little fact about me, we had a mice problem last year,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
and, I was like, "How can you guys love Disney so much? These little mice are so cute," as I dangled them there. My
Gross.
my 4 girls didn't appreciate that too much.
Right. That's
Okay, so then what came first, Snow White or Disneyland? I can't remember.
Snow White.
Okay. Alright, so Snow White was a thing. And is the
Yeah.
Disneyland castle Snow White?
No,
Or is it
one's
Cinderella?
Cinderella and one's Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it must be
Like,
Disney World Sleeping Beauty, right?
I don't remember which one is which,
I
actually.
get it confused. If
Somebody
you
will
know,
tell
put it in the
us.
comments.
Yeah, I don't remember which.
Um, but I mean, that's not to even say all the challenges and issues he had to go through to get Disneyland up and running too, right?
I
So here you
I
have this popular cartoon Mickey Mouse. You now
right.
have popular films coming out around Snow White, Fantasia. What was the other one they said in that video? Um,
After that,
yeah, he
which
said it
were
in the
not
video.
it's Pinocchio, Fantasia, and
Oh,
Beauty,
Pinocchio.
which this was like a down period
Yeah.
for the studio. It was it was not good. Like, that's what he said almost broke him. So as you listen to that, he's talking about Snow White, and he's talking about, how that was a success, and then 2 years later is when Fantasia and Pinocchio and Bambi, those movies came out and they almost broke the studio. So we had this huge, yeah, I think you
Wow.
missed that, Michael, because
Yeah,
I
no.
think you said it differently
Yeah.
earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was after like the Academy Award, and then they had this period, and they also like this was during the war too, so there were that also played a role into it, but it just the period after from like 1940 to 1945, um, They just say success was short-lived. The late 1930s and early 40s brought Walt Disney new challenges that almost broke the studio again. The follow-up features to Snow White did not fare well financially. Pinocchio and Fantasia, which he talks about this later in the video. Like, obviously, those are huge successes now. We know Pinocchio and we
Sure.
know Bambi, like, we know these movies, but during that time, like, they didn't make money, and they almost
Wow.
broke the studio. Yeah.
We talk about that all
Pinocchio
the time, like, we're like, "Oh, one of these days when, uh, when your followers are huge, all your past content's gonna blow up," and I think that's, like, the case here, right? Like,
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
some of his past stuff, people became fans, and then they went back and went, "Oh, this is amazing, like,
Yeah.
how did we not know about this?"
Pinocchio lost about 500,000.
Jeez.
Right, um and then World War II was during that period, and then they were super deep in debt, and there's also a strike during this time.
Oh
Like,
my
you had
god.
yeah, people there was a let's see, Disney's animators, frustrated by long hours and relatively low pay, launched a bitter strike that lasted 5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we had that going on, and then, um, by the war's end, they were 4,000,000 in debt.
Oh my gosh, wait, are you kidding me?
4,000,000.
4,000,000.
Yeah.
Backwards. Holy
Yes.
cow, we just had this massive success, everything's taking off, we
Right.
finally hit it, everything's working, and next thing you know, we're $4.5 million in debt.
Yeah. Yeah, so he pivoted during that time and just tried to come up with new forms of content,
Uh-huh.
and, he created a television series. This is when there was a television series called Disneyland, the TV show, Mickey Mouse Club,
Oh, yeah, Mickey Mouse Club. I forgot
uh,
about that. The
Davy
original
Croc
Mickey Mouse Club.
yeah, I only know the new one, the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah,
That's the
no,
one that I know. I don't know what this Mickey
you're
Mouse
the one you're
Club.
thinking of is a cartoon.
Yeah, what is this one?
It was a black and white TV show, I think Donnie and Marie Osmond
Oh,
were kids
really?
on that show, there were some famous people that were on the Mickey Mouse Club. MICKEYMOUSE, Mickey
Well,
Mouse,
that's still what
Mickey Mouse, yeah,
the
that was
cartoon
that
is.
was the theme song for the
Oh, they still kinda used it because
yeah,
I
they
know
kept it for the
okay.
latter ones. There was actually a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, with some of the trendy new pop kids too, before they turned it into a cartoon after
Oh,
that.
okay. And then obviously, Disneyland is part of how he pivoted as well in
Oh, okay.
creating Disneyland. So,
Which
uh,
came with its own set of
yeah, let's
holy
talk about
cows.
that because I did not know a lot of this stuff.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
I had watched a documentary a while back
Yeah.
that I had heard some of it, but then I learned even more. So, Disneyland's opening was a complete disaster. Like, they call it Black Sunday
Oh my
because it was such a disaster. Um, there were counterfeit tickets, so they were expecting a certain amount of people, but a lot more showed up on
oh my
that
gosh.
day, so that caused a lot of problems. Let's see.
Talk about a weird good
Walt
quality problem.
Walt had t invited about 15,000 guests, but counterfeit tickets doubled the crowd to over 28,000 attendees. So and he wasn't they weren't prepared for that, like, here's all these new rides that were breaking down on this day because they weren't expecting that many people, and then it was super, super hot, and so the asphalt was melting, and ladies were wearing heels
Well,
to
because you always dressed
Disneyland.
up to go out, right?
Yeah, that's what you did. I would
Yeah.
never imagine wearing heels to Disneyland nowadays. I have seen it, and I could not believe it when I saw somebody wearing heels. Like,
Crazy.
are you only coming for, like, 20 minutes? I don't understand. You clearly are not an all-dayer at the park. But
I mean,
the
in all fairness, it wasn't as big as it is now.
yeah, that's true. That's true. So, yeah, the asphalt was melting, and then, um what
Wow.
else?
You
Drinking
fix
fountains
that. Like,
weren't
what's the SOP for the administrative staff? I mean, think about it. If you own a business, like, what's the SOP for, uh, sir, it's so hot outside that the asphalt is melting and the women are getting stuck in the road? What do you mean stuck in the road? I mean, when they take a step, their heel's going down and they can't get out. What?
What a nightmare.
Is this in like one of my cartoons? Like,
Yeah,
what is happening
right. There's a plumber strike, and drinking fountains weren't working.
on that day?
So yeah, and it was hot.
Oh my gosh.
So they had to choose between running toilets or water fountains, and Walt chose the toilets.
Good
I
choice,
mean,
Walt.
I don't know,
People
how do you
gotta
make that
people gotta
choice?
poop.
They didn't have enough food, there were traffic jams, and there's media coverage on all of this.
Oh my gosh. Which was a big deal back then, like,
Yeah,
having
back then,
media,
that's, like, a huge deal, right?
like, you played the marketing just right. You got everybody there to see all your problems.
Yeah. Yeah, so
So, like,
he
when we suggest to our business clients, like, you should do a soft launch or a beta, that's why. I'm just
I
saying.
think he did think he was doing a soft launch. He invited 15,000
Oh,
people.
they were
I guess that
inviting
gives you
people.
Yeah, I guess that gives you a little bit of perspective of the success that they had already had up to
Yeah.
Disney.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I mean, obviously they were or up to Disneyland. Obviously, they were in debt, $4,000,000,
Right.
but they were still having success and enough success that they could open Disneyland. He did, use life insurance money
Oh,
in
jeez.
order to finance this project, opened a new company to finance it.
So
Um,
he mortgaged his house to do Snow
Snow
White,
White.
and then he mortgaged his life insurance through
Yeah.
Disney. This is some serious,
Serious belief, like,
oh man.
and serious
Like,
just figuring it out and getting up every single day and doing it.
I I mean, you see him in that video and he's super, like, chill and kind of, like, calm,
Yeah.
but I wonder if he was like that. I think he was, right? Like, I think he
I don't
was.
know, I've seen some interesting things, like, as I've researched, there's a lot of videos that come up of him and the 2 sides of Walt Disney.
Oh, I see.
I'm sure a lot of it's, like, clickbait and,
Oh,
go and
sure.
watch this video, but I think he did have a side of him um, that was angry and was
He
depressed,
wanted it right.
and he wanted it right, and he was a perfectionist, and, I do think that side existed, but he was very good in front of an audience and on these
Right,
shows, and he had such a great demeanor about him, which
right,
I think is what brought so much success
right,
to the
right.
company.
Wow.
So, yeah. Okay, one more, and then
Okay,
we can wrap it up.
okay.
I love this. Uh, I told you about this the other day, Michael. Mary Poppins,
Sure.
it took him 20 years to get the rights to be able to create that movie, because Mary Poppins was a book.
Okay.
So, it took him 20 years to get this
20
author
years.
to agree, and he wanted to do it because he used to read it to his kids, and
Okay.
his kids really wanted him to make a movie out of it, and so for 20 years, he continued to ask and find a way.
20 years.
Yeah.
Like, I laugh because some of our people that we work with, like they run a webinar once and they're like, "Ah, it didn't work. I'm going to move on to something else." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like
Yeah.
that was your first try. What do you mean it didn't work?
Right.
That was try number one."
Right.
20 years you tried to get that. That's some
So crazy.
serious, like, I'm gonna do that. I get it though. I mean, like, how many of us wouldn't do that for our kids? Like my kid, my kids want something. I'm like, okay, let's get to work and try to figure it out. See how we can make that come to life. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not like it's always easy, but 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
20 years.
I mean, and I bet if we continued to dig, we could probably find some of the deeper stories, even deeper than that. I'm sure a bunch of you out there didn't know. If there's something we talked about today that you are like, wow, I didn't know that, put in the comments and let us know, because
Yeah.
I'm curious. Like there's so many of these things that we didn't know either, and we're Disney fans,
Yeah.
so I'm just curious how much of it you guys knew. But the I think that resilience is it's clear through your language and what you were sharing with us that he had a pretty solid support system, right? Obviously his brother
Yeah.
was involved with him, and they kept going with him. His wife, kind of going, "Hey, we got to take a vacation here, like what are you doing?" Like, we
Yeah.
got to get your brain straight. um but like that resilience is just incredible. But I don't want to discount the fact that how hard it had to have been to get up and do it again.
Yeah.
Like, here's Snow White, and now you've got this crazy belief, right? That, not crazy, but
I mean,
warranted
I think he
belief.
had belief before in
Yeah,
order to make it through that, but
right. Like, what did they say? The most successful entrepreneurs have to have a certain element of delusion to make their things come to life. But
yeah.
now you've had a success in Snow White. You're going the other direction, and you're looking at it going, what's happening? Like, it's all falling apart.
Yeah.
And then to continue to borrow money and to continue to create these things that everybody else is saying, no, no, you probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I say that only leading into, like, how many of you right now have experienced that with something that you had some passion for, that you had a little bit of soul into, that maybe you were like, yeah, this is a great idea, and other people around you were like, no, 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 it's not. And think about how hard it would be to push through that. I'm not necessarily saying you should or shouldn't. I'm just saying, like, think about when you had some passion and soul behind an idea that you thought, man, this would be really cool. And then everybody else around you was like, no, don't do that. And maybe you went, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But think about how hard it would have been to plow through that and do it, even though everybody else said, no, no, that's not a thing. Don't do that. Like, how difficult would that be? And how would you have gotten through it? I mean, you got to ask yourself, and what would that answer be? Would you just ignore them? Are you that person? Are you the person that's like, well, I'm going to do my own thing, I'm going to ignore you anyway? Or are you the person that, like, needs everybody's approval to be able to move forward? How would you push through? Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you have. Holy cow. That's some crazy stories there.
Yeah, it's inspiring to hear some of those things that happened on his journey, and I guess even to the point of he dreamed up Disney World and didn't even get to see it come to life.
Man.
I think that would be,
Talk about the ultimate fall,
yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate fall.
right? Like you
But
didn't get to see it, but you made it, you dreamt it.
but you dreamt it, and many, many, many people enjoy it to this day and
Wow.
enjoy what was created
What a
there.
legacy.
Yeah, what a legacy.
Holy cow. Guys, if you've enjoyed this episode or you know somebody that would also enjoy this episode, please share it with them and let them know. Let us know. Put in the comments. Give us a review. Like, subscribe. Give us some stars or whatever it is on the channel that you're doing. Sometimes they have little star ratings. We'd love to see it. We'd love to hear from you. But that's how we know that we should keep creating great content like this. Hope you enjoyed the 7-8 stories behind Disney, and we can't wait to bring you some more. Next episode, we're going to be digging into some more cool 7-8 stories. In fact, we're going to dig into some from the great Nike. So if you're excited about hearing that, make sure you tune in to the next episode. But until then, Lexi, thank you so much for doing all that research. We appreciate you so much. And
You got it.
we enjoyed it. So appreciate you. And all you out there, let Lexi know that you appreciate the research and the time put into finding these cool stories for you. As usual, we want you guys to keep getting back up. 8.
Indeed.
We'll see you on the next episode of the 7-8 podcast. Take care. That's a wrap for this episode of 7-8, where rising isn't optional, it's who we are. If you're walking through the fire right now, or if you've already come out the other side, we want to hear your story. Head over to 7eight.life. That's SEVEN 8.life. And tell us what you've been through, how you got back up, and what you've learned along the way. Your voice could be the one someone else needs to hear right now. And while you're there, suit up. The 7-8 gear isn't just clothing, it's armor for the battle, a symbol of what you've been through and the fact that you're still here. Wear it, own it, rock it. And until next time, keep getting back up. 8.